tried to call you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to the Tuesday, August 22nd, 2017 meeting of the Leon County School Board. We are meeting in the Aquilina Howell Center, located at 3955 Pensacola Street, Tallahassee, Florida. It is so good to have you in the audience today, and those of you who are watching and listening by television. We appreciate your presence. At this point, I'm going to turn the meeting over immediately to Superintendent Hannah, who has some special remarks, I believe.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I went through the agenda earlier today with Dr. Gale, and it looked pretty straightforward, and I wasn't expecting a big crowd. And then when I pulled in about 15 minutes ago, I saw the cars, and I'm like, uh-oh. Something has changed. Well, it was the fanfare, obviously, surrounding our newest school board member. So, yeah, there you go. Well, I missed all these photo ops and the principals here. And
yes.
So in 1992, we started this program where we started having school board members represent the 34,000 students that are in the Leon County school system on this board. And tonight we are very, very proud to announce that Ms. Karina Richardson will be the 26th student member of the school board that will represent not only her students at James S. Rickards High School, but the other 33,000 across Leon County. She was chosen from an elite group. You were, Karina. I mean, there were some very talented students and student leaders that were also vying for that seat. But there was a committee that was formed, and you were heads above the rest. She is again a student in the IB program at James S. Rickards High School, a 4.6 grade point average. Been involved in, there you go, numerous activities outside of school, volunteers that are a youth group at Bethel AME, been involved with a counselor in training at the FSU school in Lafayette Park, National Achiever Society, National Honor Society. She's also a student athlete on the varsity track, soccer, and cross country and cheerleading. Oh my God.
Cheerleading was last year, but it still counts.
So she's, yeah, it still counts.
Nothing had to fall off.
And, you know, her parents are certainly no strangers to any of us, Curtis and Nina Richardson and Karina. We're just very, very, very excited. And this is going to be Mr. Wallen's last meeting as the board attorney. He's turning the reins over to Opal McKinney-Williams, so it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 against 1. So
You're up to it.
But Karina, we are so it's quite an honor, and I know these school board members are looking forward to this year and how you will represent the students in this county, and we're here for you. Whether you're superintendent or school board members or the principal, Mr. Cook, we're here to serve you. And however we can make your experience in our school system is the best we possibly can. That's our job. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And while y'all are talking, I'm going to take Karina some flowers.
All right. And we certainly will allow you to do that, Mrs. Superintendent. And I think that after you do that,
Thank you.
then she's going to have a task. Are you going to do that now, Mrs. Superintendent, or is she ready to carry on?
I'm sure she's ready. So,
Of course.
as your first official duty as student school board member, will you please recognize and introduce some other students that are here tonight to do some opening ceremonies?
Yes. So first we will have Kiara Thompson doing the we will have Creed King doing the Pledge of Allegiance. So Creed, would you go ahead and come up? Creed is a student at Leon High School. She's in the 11th grade. She's accompanied by her friend Kate Powell today. Her school activities include Lions United, History Fair, which she has participated in for 4 years, and Girls Weightlifting, which she has participated in for 3 years. She has a scholarship to Champagnat University in Hawaii. She was 1st and 8th at the National History Fair. She's the 2-year captain of the girls weightlifting and 4th and 6th place in state for girls weightlifting. And she is the 2-time camper participant in the USDA AG Discovery Program for the Virgin Islands and Kentucky. And her interests include veterinary medicine and anatomy. Creed.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we will have the thought of the day by Kiara Thompson, who also attends Leon High School. She's also in the 11th grade, and she is accompanied by Renee and Emerson Thompson. Her school activities include being a member of the English, Spanish, and Math Honor Societies. She's in the Pierian chapter of the National Honor Society, and she is Key Club Secretary. Her honors include the Presidential Award for Volunteering and Honors AP Student Scholar. And her interests include reading, especially the classics, and learning new things, especially about the world around us and how it came to be the way it is. Kiara.
Okay, good evening. My name is Kiara Thompson, and I am a junior at Leon High School, and I'm pleased to have the opportunity tonight to share with you the thought of the day. I will begin with a quote. Words have even more power when you believe in them. What you say has the potential to change your attitude and your whole way of thinking. This was said by Jason Scotts, who's the author of Mental Strength and Positive Attitude. I chose this quote because it really spoke to me. Words are the manner through which we express ourselves, whether through oral or written forms of communication, and they are a foundation for how we relate to one another. Words are also used to take and leave records for future generations. The way that we choose to use our words and how that usage affects others is where the difference matters. Words have the potential to hurt others as well as to lift them up. My thought to those of you here tonight is to think about how you use your words, especially when dealing with others, and to think about how you may have used your words in the past. I know I will certainly try to. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. That was absolutely powerful, Kiara. I wish that was going nationwide. Is that going nationwide, Denver? I'm just asking. Great job, and thank you so much, Creed. Outstanding young citizens of this community you are, and thank you for being here tonight. Would the parents of these fine individuals stand, please, so that we can see you, and thank you. Yes. Thank you, thank you. Did we ask the parents of the lady who's getting all the fanfare and the flowers to stand? If not, I bet they probably will. Stand, please. Thank each of you for being here tonight, and we look forward to you, Karina, as you will be the newest board member. We look forward to your input, and as you do your surveys of your peers in this county, I know that you will bring us back many, many wonderful things that we can do better, and that is what we want to. Are there
Principals.
Thank you. See, we're on it. Principals of these fine students. Stand. Principals, assistant principals. Right. I see in the back former school board member Fred Vaughn. Fred, step up and say hello. Hello, Fred. All right. I understand that an aunt has recently moved in from California back home to Tallahassee. Stand up, aunt. You know, you went to high school with my children. Say hello. Right. I understand that there's an adopted family to the Richardson. Stand up, adopted family. You all told me all of this. Great. Okay. All right. Who am I forgetting? Did I see her sister here? Stand up, sister. Yes. I know all of these folks. Is there anybody else who just want to stand? You know. thank you each for being here. This is a special occasion. We are in our second week of school, and we're excited about it. And this board is ready to be about the business of doing board work. Are there comments? I see smiles down there. Okay, just happy.
Oh, comments from me. Oh.
Okay. Yes, we'd like that.
Oh, okay. I just want to thank everyone, and especially my principal, Mr. Cook, for nominating me. Just to have this opportunity, I feel so honored and privileged to be able to serve my peers and like students all over Leon County schools. And I just look forward to working with everyone on this board, and I thank you for welcoming me and just being so kind and open. Thank you. I just hope I do a good job.
We expect you will. Yes, ma'am. All right, so Corinna, you're on your way. And so now we will proceed with the agenda. As printed, changes and additions will be read by Vice Chair Striplin.
Yes, ma'am. Superintendent recommends approval and changes and additions to the August 22nd, 2017 school board meeting agenda as presented. Number 1, item 18.07, semi-annual construction report, replace documentation. Number 2, add item 18.09, item for consideration, 2017-18 PACE Center for Girls contract. Additional time was needed to review of this item. Number 3, add item 18.10, items for consideration, 2017-18 AMI Kids Tallahassee Inc. contract. Additional time was needed for review of this item. Add item 22.01, continuing concerns from board members, Leon County Magnet School Program Task Force, board member Roseanne Wood. Number 5, item 17.05, extension of suspensions, case 2017-79 and case 2017-80 were moved to extension of suspensions from item 17.06, stipulation agreement of alternative placement. Number 6, item 17.06, stipulation agreement of alternative placement, pulled. The cases in this item were moved to item 17.05. Number 7, item 17.07, expulsion waiver. Case 2017-38 was moved to expulsion waiver from item 17.08, expulsion waiver. This will create one item that contains all of the expulsion waivers. Number 8, item 17.08, expulsion waiver was pulled. The case in this item was moved to item 17.07. And finally, number 9, item 17.03, Imagine Charter School inventory dispersing disposal timeline, add additional documentation.
You have heard the reading of the changes and additions. What is the pleasure?
Move approval.
Moved by Rasmussen, second by Wood. Questions, comments? None. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
It passes unanimously. Recognitions. The National History Fair, first place, Leon High School.
Yes, Madam Chair, if I may. We've been waiting all summer long for tonight. I've been so excited. This time I'd like for Principal Billy Epteen to come up, and he's going to introduce a couple of the teachers and then some special, very special students that are in our audience. So, Principal Epteen.
Board members, Superintendent Hanna, thank you for inviting us this evening. Many of you may know, but I am a third-generation high school principal, and the advice that my grandfather and father gave me is to hire the best teachers you possibly can, give them what they need, and then get out of their way. In that case, I think I did a pretty good job in two individuals, Janine Mice and Kate Davis, if you will come on up. These two ladies are part of the Social Studies Department at Leon High School, and they also had a leading role in our history fair this past year. With their efforts and the outstanding contributions by our student, we've got some pretty big news that we want to announce. And I'm going to let them talk a little bit, but I'm going to have the young ladies come up. First of all, Kiera Thompson, come on up. Besides her wonderful thought of the day that she gave today, she was recognized a Certificate of Achievement as honorable mention at the National History Fair, which was held just outside of Washington, D.C. in Maryland this past summer. Incredible achievement. Not only did she win the local and the state, but to have an honorable mention at the national level is truly amazing in the Florida Senior Division. So, Kiera, congratulations. All right, and not to be outdone, Kate Powell and Creed King, y'all come on up. All right, they were in the category of the senior group exhibit category. They went a little bit past honorable mention. They went past third place. They went past second place. They became in first place in the nation in their category from all over the states, the 50 states in the United States. So congratulations to Kate Powell. All right, I'm going to have the teachers come up and say a little bit about them. Like I said, I hired them and I got out of the way, so I'm going to let them talk about the actual projects.
All right.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Janine Mice, and this is Kate Davis. Before we say anything, there's one more group that needs to stand up, if at all possible. The Powell family, for all their help and support of their daughter as well. Who, since she didn't do the pledge today, but this is Kate Powell's parents. Mrs. Davis and I were talking beforehand, and we have kind of a similar situation as Principal Epting, which was that we were able to provide some guidance in last-minute sort of appearances for projects and proofreading some things and maybe some guidance, but in all honesty, these girls did everything themselves, and after they won state, they were so determined to win national, they took the entire board apart and started all over again. After winning first place in state, they said, there is no way this is going to win nationals, because that's how they determined, and they started all over again from scratch. They went to the archives at the World War II, what is it called, at FSU? Was it the moment they have archives? They went through unarchived photographs and documentation and were part of the archiving process in order to get the things that they wanted and needed for their project. And it was absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing. And Kiara had never done a performance in her entire life, ever. And so, of course, she said, what should I do for History Fair? I'm going to do a performance. And took it all the way to nationals. And all three ladies still have a whole year ahead of them in History Fair. And after this experience, we're really excited to see what they have to do for this year. So congratulations, ladies. Cool. You make us proud to be teachers. Thank you.
Can I ask a question? Before you go, could you just give us a nugget of what the projects were on? Because I know they were very important topics.
See, I did my homework. Law, not war, right?
I think,
Law, not war.
I think it would be best. Can we have you come up and talk about your projects personally? Because you'll do much better justice than we will.
And you can get ready to tell us about the performance as well.
Or she could just do it.
Yeah. Whichever's easiest.
That's right.
Our project was entitled Law Not War, and it was about Benjamin Ferencz, who's the last surviving prosecutor from the Nuremberg trials.
What was the name? It wasn't Nuremberg trials, but there was a case. It was like the most historic case where I guess there were 13 people or 20, I think, that were accused of killing over 1 million people. What was it? What was the name of that case?
That was called the Einsatzgruppen case. And
Say it again.
The Einsatzgruppen.
Yeah, see, I was going to butcher the pronunciation, so that's why I had you say.
And that's like the mobile killing squad unit. It was called the murder trial of the century, and it was his first case ever.
Did y'all interview him?
Yes.
Oh,
That's really cool. Where does he live?
In Grayton Beach.
Okay. So he's in Florida.
Yeah.
Oh.
So did you find some very interesting things at the archives there in FSU? Pictures, photos? I mean, I guess you did.
There were a bunch of photos and documents that I found really interesting, and it was really neat for me to actually be able to handle them myself.
Oh, okay.
And knowing that they're not available to everybody else online. It was really, really
Did you have to put on gloves and all that stuff too?
surprisingly,
Yeah, I
no.
mean, when I sit on too, they put on the gloves. Okay.
No, ma'am, we didn't.
Great. That's special.
I have
All right.
a
Yes,
thing
Ms.
to
Wood.
tell the girls that they don't know, I don't think. My husband plays tennis. He doesn't play anymore with a man named Pete Durland, who is 94 years old. He's a Tallahassee resident. He's a World War II veteran. And he's going to come to the Herc open house that I know you girls are going to be, and he was at the Nuremberg trials. He was the adjutant. He was in the military, and he served the judge who was there. And he's here in Tallahassee, and I told him about your accomplishments, and so he's going to come to that open house to meet you. So isn't that cool?
Very cool.
Yeah.
Give a hand. Go ahead,
And
Ms. Super.
again, I would just like to thank our teachers, Miss Mice and Miss Davis, and I would also like to thank our middle school who showed us and introduced us to History Fair, because without them we wouldn't be where
Beautiful.
we are today.
And what middle school was that?
Fairview Middle School.
Fairview. You know, these girls are they're being very modest, but
Yes,
there were
they
over
are.
600,000
Wow.
students competed nationally, and 3 from Leon County. My other question was, and I asked Dr. Gale this: has it ever happened before? Have we had students in Leon County that have ever won a national championship, basically, or national honorable mention? One other time, Larry Rivers, who was a student of ours when we were at Leon in 2003, won it for a paper, for an individual paper.
Good.
It's the only other time it's happened in the history of our school system. So y'all, I don't know what you're going to do for an encore your senior year. I mean, how do you follow this up? But the class of 2019, wow.
I would not
Wow.
be surprised, Mr. Superintendent, if there is not some kind of beck and call to have this kind of information placed in a National Historical museum someplace. I mean, it sounds pretty important. So when that call happens, come back to us and let us know who made the call, where it's going, and then which television show you're going to be on. It's going to happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And now, featuring Kiara Thompson, who is going to give us at least a good snippet of her performance.
Okay, so I did a performance on Toussaint Louverture and the Haitian Revolution.
Uh-huh.
And so basically what I did was I had 5 characters, and I used those different characters to tell the story of the Haitian Revolution and its like significance today.
So did you have to go into various voices and mimics and costumes and that kind of thing? I know you just didn't stand there like that. You got all the drama and did it, right?
I had costumes
Dramatic?
and I had
Yes.
props.
Okay.
And then at one point I was doing a French accent, but we edited it out. So
Okay. So did you enjoy it?
yeah, it was really fun.
Wonderful.
It was something I'd never done before. I've never taken an acting class in my life. So it was something cool for me to try, and so I'm really happy that, I
Good.
got
So
as
now
far
do
as
you
I
have an
did.
interest in theater? Why not?
I'll put it in my pocket.
All right, good answer.
Good answer.
Thank you so much. You all represent so well.
One other thing, what I would like, when was the national competition? It was in June, right? So we definitely want to bring them back this year with their projects from when it comes to show all these other students, the young ones and the older ones, what a national championship looks like. So make sure when we get going again this year with, I guess, Ms. Thompson at Montfort, overseas history fair, that we can bring your projects forward to put them on display as national champions, because they missed out completely. All right, so congratulations again, ladies. We're very proud of you.
Yes, we are. Thank you. That was fun, wasn't it? That's one of the reasons we enjoy being on the board, right?
Yes, it is.
You see what you're in for, Karina? Girl, it's going to be on and popping in here. Thank you. Okay, reports to be heard. The District Advisory Council, none to date. Student Advisory
Tell 'em they
Council.
can leave too, remember?
Oh, well, let's keep them in here. Anyway, Title I Advisory Council, none today. Actually, at this point in our agenda, we have found sometimes that some students and some individuals would like to take a leave, and we are enjoying this full room, but if you must go, then I guess you must go.
But you're welcome to stay.
But you're welcome to stay. It's such a warm feeling in here today. I love it.
Before they leave their matter, can we? This is a photo op. I don't want to miss this opportunity. So can we take a picture with these national champions?
Yes, we can.
Quick. All right.
All right.
Around out front.
Y'all need to move this way in the middle a little bit. One, two, three. Gotcha. This way. 1, 2, 3. Gotcha. One more just in case. Great picture. Y'all look great.
Go Big Red.
All right, we will allow them just a couple of more seconds to exit as we thank them again for attending this meeting tonight. We are now at, where are we? Item 7.
Items of consent.
Item of consent, that's where we are. Is there a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Moved by Stripling. Second by Lewis Butler. Questions from anyone?
Just to clarify, that's items 6 through 17, the full consent agenda.
Yes, it is. Item 6 through, yes, thank you for that correction. I did say 7. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposes the same. It passes unanimously. And now we're down to item number 18, item of consideration. 1801, the superintendent recommends board approval of Quaver's Beyond Marvelous general music curriculum.
Second.
Who moved it?
Shane Seifert's going to come up with Miss Register just to briefly introduce this for
we have a
you.
speaker on that. Thank you.
I brought Mary Register with me tonight because about probably a year and a half ago, she came to me with a music program that she was incredibly excited about. And she told me a year and a half ago that she was going to remind me every month she wanted this program. And she did. And over the summer, we were able to talk with the superintendent about this program, and he was able to bring it to life for us. So I want her to talk a little bit about the Quaver program that is now going to be in place for K through 5, all of elementary school students, and
Gretchen Everhart.
Okay.
So,
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks for listening. Quaver is a fully digital, internet-based curriculum. It's cutting edge. It covers K through 5. It has lesson plans. They are standards-based. They are connected to the Florida standards. It has interactive whiteboard activities. It is customizable. Every teacher can insert their own activities where they want to not squelch their creativity. It's an amazing program. I've piloted for the last year. I have some other teachers here with me. Everybody wave. Other music teachers in support. Many of them have piloted at least 30-day trials, if not a year pilot. We're all in love with it. There is nothing else out there that can even touch it. It is the least expensive curriculum out of all of the music curriculums available. So we're very excited about it. I just can't say enough. I would love to answer questions if you have them. I have brochures if you want to see one. We just can't say enough about it.
Questions, anyone? Ms. Stripling.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. I see my dear friend Emily is out here, so she's one of my yoga instructors. So since she recognized me, I'm like, we don't look like this in yoga. I don't know how you recognize me, but anyway, it's hot yoga too, so we're all like melting.
But I said, what are you guys doing here tonight? And they were all here to advocate for this program. And so to spend your entire day in the classroom, which most of us at this table know a little bit about, you're exhausted. So to come out here tonight and advocate for this program, I said, all right, if you're here, that's about all we need. As long as you are supportive of it and you feel enough about it to be here after teaching all day long, thank you for making that effort, because it proves to us that, yes, you guys, you want this, which means a lot to us. So just thank you for being here. It means a lot to us.
Okay. And it does, and it means it's been vetted by the best standing there, and it's for every student and every child, and we're going to have wonderful music.
K through 5.
You know, it is, Madam Chair, if I may.
Sure.
We were doing trying to gather some information about the Link Up program that our fourth graders have been exposed to for the last several years, and I was trying to get some feedback from elementary music teachers and their principals about what their thoughts were for that program, and they all came back. They said, we like it, we think it's wonderful, but believe it or not, we do not have any district-wide K-12 K-5 music program. And talked to Mary, and she said, you know, Rocky, I've talked to other teachers across the district. We would love to have something that all of us can latch onto, and I was actually shocked to learn that they didn't have anything. You know, and I hear this board numerous times, and we talked about it. I love it. Our commitment to the arts and to music, and this is just wonderful that we can now provide an opportunity for our youngest of students. This is great.
Yes, it is, and we look forward to what you will do, and invite us to the first mass program that you'll have.
Well, we have honor chorus every May, elementary honor chorus.
Good.
Always looking for an advocacy speaker. Would love to have you there.
As a matter of fact, I did serve as that
Yes,
once
you
a lot.
did.
You did. Okay, you do remember
We still
back
do
when
that
the earth was
every
cooling.
May,
Okay,
every
great.
May.
Great. Thank you all so much.
Thank
We
you
look
so much
forward
for your
to it.
support. This really means a lot.
Thank you. Yes, great. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. We did vote. Wait,
Wait, we need a motion first.
Well, I'm moving too fast. Moved by Rasmussen, second by. Moved by Stripling, second by Rasmussen. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
It passes unanimously.
Thank you for being music teachers.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay.
noise.
It is. Cacophony is noise. Music is music.
Sorry,
That's the
it's a lot of
difference.
music.
Am I right? Okay, 18.02, the superintendent recommends board approval of the Capital Area Action / Head Start Leon County Schools Early Childhood Program. I think there's a speaker, Mr. Superintendent.
Yes, Madam Chair. At this time, I would like Martha. You want to come up here too? Martha Fletcher, who is our Director of ESE and Early Childhood Education, and also have with her tonight Tim Center from the Capital Area Community Action Group.
We didn't really practice the,
Yeah, we didn't. I didn't realize.
the interpretive dance portion of the program, but we'll be ready for
Working on the music.
the next history festival will be great.
Okay.
Madam Chair and board members and Superintendent Hannah, thank you so much. I'm Tim Center. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for the Capital Area Community Action Agency, which is responsible for serving 8 counties in our region, dealing with low-income families, helping people change their lives, basically. And we're indebted to you and to Martha for the collaboration that we've had over years as we run the Head Start program in Leon County, serving nearly 300 students alone here and on the South City campus, your old Wesson campus, our South City campus. We serve 188 children, have a staff of about 27 students there, or 27 staff there, excuse me. And we are occupying now about 60% of your facility. Martha gets the rest of it, and if we could kick her out of there, we would do that in a heartbeat. In collaboration with you all, of course, because we would like to, I think, and speaking to the superintendent, the opportunity to truly create a resource for the South Side community to serve not only for early childhood education, but also to be able to have a 2-generation approach, becoming a resource to the family members, the adults, and the and adults in the community as well, by bringing in Career Source, by bringing in folks who can do GRE preparation, by doing adult education. We could be serving families in totality, and research has proven that a 2-generation approach is much more effective than simply just working with one side of the family. And I think that together with Community Action and Leon County Schools, we could do a lot. And so we're very pleased to be able to working with you, and I'm very indebted to your leadership in the past, and also to Superintendent Hannah, as we've expanded from when I first came on board 5 years ago, from 3 classrooms to 8 classrooms to now 10 classrooms. There's a lot of opportunity. And while we're serving 188 kids there are 4,000 students in town who are eligible for Head Start services, ages 3 to 5, pre-kindergarten. And just to give you a perspective of whether Head Start works or not, when the kids go into your kindergarten program, we are on average about 95% by each 3 of our centers. 95% of our kids are assessing as ready for kindergarten about a month or so into kindergarten. So we're producing a good product. We hope it delivers well for you. Clearly, you have a great school system, and we're very pleased to be part of it. Thank you.
Great. Thank
Question?
Question, yes, go ahead.
Tim, first of all, appreciate your good work, and Martha, appreciate you. And tell us what you need that you don't have.
We need more Linda Whites. Linda, who is in charge of the campus and really does a lot, she says, let me talk to Martha every single time. I will tell you, Danny Albritton and Randy Pridgeon and Dr. Pridgeon have been great to work with regarding the facilities. You're going to approve, most likely, the agreement we have. We would love to be able to take it for $1 a year from you, if possible. We don't have the budget necessarily, and you don't either, as we watched what the legislature has done to yours. But figuring out some great deal would be great financially. You also aren't in the capacity to really put much money into the campus because it's not an instructional facility traditionally as your other schools are. We would love to have that kitchen up and running and being able to prepare the 2.5 meals a day for all the students that we work with. Which are all free to them, and Head Start is free childcare to students, to the families. But more importantly, continued collaboration between your policymakers and leadership and the management team of Rocky and company and Martha with our group, I think, and some others at the table like CareerSource and others, to truly determine what could that resource look like in that part of the town. And I think that is really where the future lies. You all should not be expected to take care of 100% of everything you're required to, which is 500% of what school districts back in the day were responsible for. We are not responsible for getting 100% of people out of poverty. But we are responsible for creating that collaboration where the community can come together and really have a deliverable that I think we can all be invested in and see a nice return on. We have a program, for example, called Getting Ahead in a Just Getting By World. It's a 15-week program, 2 hours each day. 2 hours each week, excuse me. That doesn't teach people how to dress for success or write a resume, but it gets people thinking about how they can change their perspective, and transformation happens. And about 40% of the people that go through the program come off of public assistance entirely. So there's something that can be done in the anti-poverty movement, but we can't do that by ourselves, and we have to do it in collaboration with others. And I think that opportunity to get more people invested in all of our community, not just their part of the community, but all of the community, we can have some successes.
Ms. Lewis Butler?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Senator, for what you think about doing, and thank you, Ms. Fletcher, for your works. What about the facility? I know what the school board may be able to do, Mr. Superintendent, but what will you be able to do about the facility?
Well, can I tell you, I don't know when this building shut down, but it's in phenomenal shape. I mean, it's really just an outstanding facility. In fact, we were so glad with the previous administration to be able to expand from 3 to 8 classrooms and now to 10. Our goal was to get rid of our really run-down facilities, to give those low-income families that we're serving a sense of hope when they drop their kids off to go, hey, school's fun and it looks good, and your campus looks great. We'd love to figure out how to do better in the parking in the back field or something like that when the kids are being dropped off, but you've probably got that problem on every one of your campuses when you've got kids dropped off in the morning and kids being picked up in the afternoon. But no, the facility itself is great. We've made some improvements to it. We've taken some of the classrooms, replaced the flooring in them so that we have less mildew or mold problems. If we could run the AC just a couple degrees cooler or take the humidity out, it would be great because that would be a super thing. I mean, if we had, we really may do very well, and we're able to work very effectively with Martha and Linda, good partners, and that's the best part about the whole thing is that we couldn't do this without y'all, and we're very appreciative, grateful.
Can I ask you just a follow-up? So you said 4,010, I think, we have pre-K children who are eligible but aren't being served?
Yeah, more than 4,000 children in Leon County are eligible for Head Start services. And just to give you a quick perspective, so poverty is about $20,000 for a family of 3 as an annual income. In the city of Tallahassee, and nationally, 14% of Americans live in poverty. In our community, 28% of city of Tallahassee residents live in poverty, our neighbors, 22% in Leon County. And that's a much higher percentage than is in the nation, that is in the state of Florida. And we have a very significant percentage of those people living in poverty are children. And that is the most vulnerable population. And we're lucky to be there for a little bit. We're funded by the federal government through the Department of Health and Human Services. And we're in the process right now, working with the Florida Chamber to get the business community kind of more engaged in this conversation, to be able to talk to the legislature to say maybe there could be some additional investments made, as they have done with VPK, as they have done with other services like that, which is for everybody, but not just the poorer families.
Right.
But if we could, that's kind of what our population looks like.
You wanted to speak. Go ahead, and I'll speak
Well,
next.
I think it was the same question, but to
Yes.
clarify, my question, Tim, is 4,000 that are eligible, how many of them are not receiving any service? Are some of them in the other VPK sites?
So we
or,
have 300 kids that we serve in Leon County of the 4,000.
and the rest are just not getting any services at all, or are they in other VPK
They may take advantage of
sites?
school readiness, which is subsidized childcare through the Early Learning Coalition offered through the state of Florida, or maybe VPK, which is free for all families, not just poor families. And also Early Learning Coalition has subsidized childcare for those students as well. And subsidies are based on a sliding scale based on income.
It sounds like there's still a pretty substantial number that are not getting services at all.
And we're also serving our children with disabilities. In Leon County Schools, we serve approximately 1,000 kids, and we also serve kids that are in his Head Start programs. We have a resource teacher that goes into the classrooms and works as a consult, either with the teacher or hands-on with the teacher. So we have a collaboration there anyway that we have to have that's as a federal mandate.
That was going to be my question, and it sounds to me like the mics are muted, or maybe my ears are congested or something, but y'all are coming across very softly. So if it sounds like I'm yelling, it's because of what I think I've got going on here in my head.
I'll project from my diaphragm.
Great, do that for me. Because my question as well, Tim and Martha, was going to be about the 4,000 students that are not being served, period. And I'm wondering why they are not, how can we serve them, and in answer to what more do you need from us, I guess I was expecting something beyond the answer of more parking lots. That's a good problem to have. I'm very much impressed with your seeing that the second generational reach in helping these students learn and helping to move these families from where they are to another level of care. That's important to me. But 4,000 sounds like a lot of students that are just out there somewhere, and I heard your explanation. So are you at full capacity with the 188? Do we need to recruit? How did you get those 188? And
we are at full capacity. Yes, ma'am, we're at full capacity, and we have a waiting list.
Okay.
And let me make sure it's clear. I can't tell you that the other 3,700 are not getting services.
All right.
They are not receiving services through Head Start. There are other child care options available for children ages 3 to 5 that can come in a variety of different home-based child care services, center-based child care services that are subsidized by Early Learning Coalition and others. So, as you know, many folks use a lot of different things. So you might use extended family for that type of child care. Mm-hmm. The reality is that in wherever we are in the country and in Florida, the capacity to serve 100% of those who are deserving and who meet the financial eligibility for the services is non-existent. The amount of funding that would be necessary to invest in that manner is just not being done. And that's a larger policy question, I believe, that would probably be brought about by a good coalition of folks talking about early childhood. And I think that there are folks like that. There's, Whole Child Leon and
Certainly.
and folks who call for a Children's Services Council that says create a taxing district for that. I'm not necessarily endorsing that at all. But there's not enough for you all to go around and take care of everybody. There's not enough for us to go around. But I'll tell you what, if you bring the folks together who do have the resources, sit down, put the money on the table, you could probably figure out a better way to spend it.
Yeah, we do need to follow the money, don't we?
Well,
all the time.
And be collaborative with our dollars, and I think we are.
But of course, yes. I not thought of this until right now, but when I graduated from Florida A&M University, my first job was at Boone High School in Orlando. And during the summers, I worked at a Head Start center that was called Ohev Shalom. My boss was Mrs. Rutenberg, okay? So the need and the desire and understanding of the far-reachingness of this program extends way back when there were many dollars. And there still is the great need for us to do now what the dollars were there to do then. It's just something that is close to my heart, because the earlier we can get these children fed and taught to read, the better they're going to be as citizens, and the more we can teach them and educate them in our facilities, then the better our society will be. And I'll get off my soapbox for now, but I thank you for being here.
Madam Chair,
yes.
Look down at Board Member Wood when she asked Tim Center, what do you need? I'm like, oh no. He is not, look, he will advocate for his programs. And I told Tim first, thank you for waiting until the spring, because people kept asking, has Tim come to see you yet? Did Tim come to see us? I said,
yes.
No, but he did this spring. And, one of my priorities is what can we do to get in front of the achievement gap? What can we do before kids get to kindergarten? How can we as a school system play our part in those formative years of 0 to 5 when 95% of a child's brain is already developed? Well, this is how we do it. And, I've told Martha and Dr. Cox that my goal is to fill Leonard Weston with 3 to 5-year-olds. That's my goal. Now, we do have a number of our staff members that are there, student services and others, but he's right. It's a beautiful facility, and the least that we can do, I think, is a public school system. They're coming to us. They're coming.
That's right.
They're just not here yet. What can we do to support Tim and others, given our limited resources, to try to shrink this gap before kids come to kindergarten?
Totally agree. Ms. Stripling.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And if I may, just sort of, Tim and I also meet in my other life as nonprofits, and I can just assure the whole board here, Tallahassee has a very active and vibrant and multi-need meetings group of nonprofits, and we're all in the same boat. How can we serve all the kids in need? And it's a daunting task, but there are so many people out there like his agency and many others that are searching for the resources to do this. Tim receives federal funding, my agency receives state funding, there's city county, there's United Way. Everyone is coming together collaboratively to try to meet the needs of these children, elderly, homeless. There's so many needs out there, but to know that we're supporting Tim, I don't see a dollar amount on this, but we're supporting him with a facility. Yes. We're offering what we have.
We're paying a pretty fair market rate.
I'm sure you are. But it's not often that we see people come to us and there's no dollar amount there. So we're using our resources together to make this happen by way of the facility that he's in. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, many people came to us wanting to utilize that facility.
That's true.
And so we can't meet all the needs, but I'm glad that we're partnering with Head Start and with his program and providing that facility. And I know many of us, we had a little conversation with one of our state representatives about the Children's Services Coalition. That's exactly what he's referring to, is having that conversation with other children's services in this community, and is there a urge from our community to support that financially? So I think that we'll see something maybe like that coming up in the future. But I'm glad that we're here with you.
Go ahead.
Madam Chair, just one other thing, just to share other ways that you all have been very supportive. One, in our pre-service, when we were getting all of our staff, welcoming them back and getting them ready for the new school year, the superintendent was very kind to come and join and kind of give them a pep talk and say, because our folks don't work for you all, but to make them feel like they're part of the education system of Leon County. And it was very, very heartwarming, and they were very glad to see you. Also, thank you to the administration as well. We've replaced a couple different horse-drawn carriages that we've been using for field trips with a couple new buses that you've been able to surplus, and that has brought us into the golden age. They now use gasoline engines, and it's very exciting. And our amount of money spent on feed will now go down a lot. So thank you.
Feed.
All right. Well, thank
Tim
you.
keeps us entertained at all kinds
I'm
of meetings,
sure.
so just go ahead and fill you in there.
Okay, thank you so much for what you do, and thank you for being here tonight, and we certainly are in good collaboration. All right, we need a motion on 18.02, please.
Move approval. Second.
Moved by Rasmussen, second by Striplin. I think we've heard all questions and comments. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposes the same. It passes unanimously. 18.03, the superintendent recommends board approval of the Department of Health in Leon County, Florida, Health Services Contract 2017-2018. Is there a speaker, Mr. Superintendent?
Not unless you have questions, Madam Chair.
No questions here, questions there? Hearing none, moved by Rasmussen, second by Wood. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposes the same. It passes unanimously. 18.04, the superintendent recommends board approval of the fixed asset write-off July 1, 2015-2030-2016, reference number only, number 5489. No
Madam Chair?
speakers? Yes, Ms. Rasmussen.
Based on the lengthy presentation and thorough discussion from yesterday, I move approval.
Moved by Rasmussen, second by Wood. Questions? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. It passes unanimously. 18.05, the superintendent recommends board approval. William Scottman purchase donation of portable 00-549 surplus from service at Pace School for one portable 00.549 and donation to Wakulla County Schools.
That must not have been the one from World War II.
That's what I was going to ask, actually.
Okay. It's one of the newer
The
ones.
question is,
It's not the same portable.
what year?
Dr.
is this
Pridgeon
total?
says no, it is not the World War II portable.
Gotcha.
Okay, it is not. So all in favor state aye. Well, what did anybody motion?
Move
something?
approval.
Moved by Rasmussen.
Second.
Second by Striplin. Questions? They've been answered. It's not 02. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposes, the same. It passes unanimously. Is that right, Ms. Lewis Butler? Okay, 18.06. The superintendent recommends board approval for RAM Construction and Development, LLC, Sale High School, emergency repairs to include but not limited to structural column wall repairs to the computer lab classroom, minor electrical modifications, shoring, CMU, grout, structure sheet, and minor finishes, and other work related to the emergency. Is there a motion?
Based on extensive discussion on this item, I move approval.
Can I clarify one thing, please, Madam
Yes,
Chair, before you
sir.
vote? The dollar amount is going to shock you. It says 1.5 million. That's a not to exceed amount. We had some discussion about that yesterday. So with these emergency contracts, the contract says not to exceed 1.5 million. This project won't come close to that. So right now, there's a purchase order cut in the amount of $100,000, just to clarify.
All right, we appreciate that clarification.
Thank you.
All right, motioned by who? Wood, second by whom?
Second.
By Striplin. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
It passes 4. 18.07, the superintendent recommends approval of the semi-annual construction report.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes, sir.
I want to show you briefly a couple of these. Oh, my. A couple of these documents. Go to the one, there you go, Sharonda. Go to the last one, the planned projects. We've discussed some of the ones that were completed and some of the ones that are ongoing.
Okay.
So the last document are some of the plan. And this, as you can see at the top, is something we do, what, Dr. Pridgeon? How many, twice a year?
This is, it hasn't been done recently, so we're getting back into this. We're going to do it twice a year. We're going to do it now, and we'll do it again when New Year starts in 18. It hasn't been done in several years, but we're going back to doing it. It's in policy.
So as you can see, some of the items on this list are items we discussed before. Springwood and Chairs Elementary School, we're looking to do new cafeteria. Sullivan, some window replacements. Those windows, I think, are the original windows from that school built in the 1950s. Cobb, as you know, is going through a complete re-roof, and there's going to be some projects with water line replacement at Cobb, Nims, and Riley. A chiller at Moore. We talked about Fairview. The architect's going to draw the big design for the entire site, and we're starting with the gym project this summer to get that done. One thing, remember several meetings ago, Ms. Striplin, we brought together a proposal for a master plan of all three of those sites. We've ditched that plan, just to let you know, because the price of it was expensive.
Just when I accepted it, you ditched it?
Well, when we saw the price of the...
It took me like a month to understand that.
So, well, I think what I was wanting was more conceptual, to have something to show you, but I'm not willing to pay the price they were asking just to show people.
So I was right after all that time?
I'm not saying you were right. I'm just saying.
Dang it. Newspaper is here, right? You sort of heard that, right? I'm sort of right.
So anyway, but having said that, so Fairview will move forward. We'll move forward this summer with the new gym. And then Heritage Trails, we need to re-roof there. Oh, speaking of Heritage Trails, I talked to Amy Alvis today. They've enrolled 13 new students since the beginning of the school year, which is very, very, and more on the way.
Great.
Buck Lake Playground, we talked about the land purchase that we're making an offer on for W.T. Moore. Also land opportunities at Woodville and at Rickards High School. We're going to propose to bring the ball fields back to Rickards, and some conversations to be had in the future with Doug Cook. So those are some of the projects that we're looking at over the course of the next year. But we'll bring this back to them again, Dr. Pridgeon, and
first part of 18, January, February.
So, and this will be like every 6 months we'll continue to update this report.
Okay, Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am. Ms.
Thank
Striplin.
you. Could you let us know which, said replace documentation on the changes in addition, which one was replaced?
Yeah, we added Rickards, right?
It was the proposed site acquisitions, the last three.
So the completed is same, the current projects are the same, it's the planned projects that you replace the documentation.
Site acquisition.
Okay, might I ask if there's replaced documentation, you would specify on the changes in addition which documentation was replaced? Yeah, I'm asking if you could do that in the future. That would be helpful, just so I know kind of where we're looking. And then on that specific document, say again which one?
It is the Moore proposed site acquisition, Rickards, and Woodville, the proposed site acquisition.
That was on the list yesterday.
Those were the three. Well, this was on the list yesterday. This change was after board docs were due.
Gotcha.
So.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. So follow up to that. So back up to we are no longer going with the three, the master plan project. So when we approve something and then we decide not to go that route, is there any notification to the board, or do we need to do anything to back up that approval, or we just let it go?
What the board approved was the selection to negotiate a contract, and when we saw the price, we weren't going to bring it to the board.
So I was right? Is that what you're saying?
Danny, you don't need to go there. That's my,
okay.
that's my job.
Thanks.
Give it to her. Give it to her.
Thank you. Really.
Okay.
Seems as though she may be correct, yes.
That was hard earned. Writing this
She's talking to the newspapers up
This
here.
is the best
we
day
need a
ever.
motion.
I do want to acknowledge, I think we should acknowledge that the superintendent thought, oh, they won't go for this.
Well, he wouldn't go for it either.
All right. Is there a motion, ladies?
Move approval.
Second.
Moved by Wood, second by Rasmussen. Questions? We've heard them. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
It passes unanimously. 18.07, the superintendent recommends approval of the semi-annual construction. That's what I just did. Okay, so I'm on 08. The superintendent recommends approval of the certification of applicants seeking pre-qualification for bid in Leon County School Board construction projects. That's where we are.
Move approval.
been moved by Strickland and second by Lewis Butler. Questions from the board? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
It passes unanimously. 18.09, 2017-2018 PACE Center for Girls contract. Is there a speaker? Hearing, seeing none, what's the pleasure?
I move it.
Moved by Lewis Butler.
Second with a
Second by
question.
Strickland. Questions from the board? Hearing, seeing none. Oh.
Could
Ms.
we?
Strickland.
Yes, thank you. Could we get? I think I asked the superintendent if this number is higher, lower, same. Could we get a breakdown from PACE Center for Girls? How many girls they serve, and what our financial obligation has been over the past just 3-5 years? Just sort of I knew they do great work, and this is wonderful. And this is another example of kind of the nonprofits, and there's a lot of them doing wonderful things out there. But just to get a background.
Sure,
historical on that.
Madam Chair, if I may, we absolutely can. This is one of the programs I worked with several years ago. Bev worked with them prior to me. That number has been consistent around $375,000 a year. Basically, that's the FTE that there's between 60 and 70 girls is their enrollment.
Okay.
That's the FTE they generate, which flows through us to them as part of this contract.
Is that pretty consistent for
Yes.
the last 3 or 4
yeah.
or 5 years?
Yeah, it's about $375 a year.
Okay.
That and the next one, AMI, is the same. It's around 70 to 80,000 a year in
With
between
the
there.
same consistent group number of kids served every year?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Moved by Wood, second by,
Second. I think we already had that.
And maybe
we
we
did
already
that?
We already did that.
Okay, haven't heard discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposes, the same, it passes unanimously. 18.10, 2017-2018 AMI Kids Tallahassee contract.
Move approval.
Moved by Wood, second by Lewis Butler. Questions? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Opposes, the same, it passes unanimously. Information items and upcoming meetings, report from board liaisons. Superintendent comments?
Yes, Madam Chair, if I may briefly.
Sure.
Someone asked the other day, how did the first week or so of school go? I said, it went great. We didn't lose any children,
Yeah.
and we survived the eclipse.
Yes.
So, which was wonderful, by the way. I'm so glad we
Yes.
did not cancel school. It was awesome. It was really a wonderful experience for our children. I went to one of the elementary schools, and I know Ms. Wood went to Cobb Middle School, and as I went to the elementary school, the teachers were walking the students out with their glasses on. They were all coming out just like this. with their arms covering their head, looking straight down at the ground. I mean, it was really
There's
cool.
some
But
footage up there, it looks like of
there you go.
That's
There you go. Denver, you are the man.
Denver is.
Having said that, I owe some big thank yous to Dr. Pridgeon, Mr. Albritton, all the facilities and maintenance staffs, and all of our custodians district-wide for getting our facilities up and running and back in tip-top shape, all 42 of our sites. They are to be commended, and our teachers were back. I was on a bus doing the Rickards High School route at 5:45 a.m. On Monday in the transportation. We had a couple of little glitches, I believe, Dr. Pridgeon, but all in all, you did an amazing job from transportation, and it was as seamless as could be for a school district this size. And I'm just so grateful and thankful to have so many wonderful employees that are a part of it.
Ditto, Mr. Superintendent, and we didn't get any phone calls from upset parents, and we like that, so somebody is really on the ball. Thank you.
So, and now with the balance of my time, Board Member Bowen, I'd like for you to try to take it from there. How about that?
Well, all right, Mr. Superintendent, let me try. It will be very hard, but I will do my best, because I think my best is going to be required on this next item. Board members, you realize that the person seated to my left will probably not be seated at my left after this meeting. Inasmuch as that is the case, we thought tonight that we ought to say a few words of thank you for his having been seated there for many years, since 2002, don't you?
Yes.
I think it would be appropriate to do that. Inasmuch as we think it is appropriate, and you see now, he has this way that he can look. When he puts on that look, it means don't you play with me. It means don't you even think about writing me a note over here because I'm going to give you the look, okay? Now, you see, we hardly ever get that smile, but I have figured out how to do that. I need you to know that before I met Jeff Walling, I knew Graham Carruthers. And if you knew Graham Carruthers, you marched in lockstep with all due respect. And then Graham left and we found Jeff. So in walks the door, the Jeff as he is now, and I go, oh my Lord, who are they sending us now? But it was a good send. Let me share with you, and you probably want to talk first. I have some remarks that I need to make tonight. You want me to go ahead? I'm so glad you asked. Let me just give you an extended...
Can I turn on the timer?
No, not anymore. You won't handle the timer after tonight. First of all, I want to share with you the places that perhaps Jeff has practiced before he came to us. I have all of that down. But he really isn't looking for a job because he already has one. What he's trying to do, he's trying to leave us. And I've been trying to find out, don't you like us anymore, Jeff? Don't you appreciate us anymore, Jeff? We certainly do appreciate, he's writing this down, you know. We certainly do appreciate you. But, you know, he went to the Florida State University Law School, and he graduated with his Juris Doctorate with highest of honors. Does that surprise you? Probably not. You already know that he has a Master of Accounting in science and graduated cum laude and not have mercy laude, you know, with a major in accounting. And if I don't keep some humor in this, because of the relationship that Jeff and I have shared, you know me, I'll be blubbering, and my kids will say, stop crying on TV, Mama, okay? So I have to do this to get through with this. Prior to working for us, he worked as an audit division for a large international public accounting firm in Tampa where he worked. But that's not really what I want to say. That's what he did before I knew him. I want to tell you what I have found in this man who now is donning the bow tie and the silk circus suit, okay? Jeff, I want you to know that we do so appreciate you for being approachable and accessible at all times. I want you to know that we appreciate the grace and the competency you show in answering our many questions. I want you to know that we appreciate and respect your forthrightness, and that has been confirmed as a result of the confidence in your legal advice that you give to us. I know I have been the worst one to ask any kind of question, and you've always made me feel it was always a good question when sometimes in your voice it sounded like it wasn't. But nonetheless, you entertained my question and said, call me anytime, okay? Your statute, Jeff, as an attorney, with great skill has been recognized by others as indicated by your election as president of the chamber and president of other organizations here in this town. So we know that you're good and you've got great skills. The thing that I like sharing with you most, that most people don't even know you have, particularly on this board, is a sense of humor. Jeff is so businesslike and is so good until you never know that behind this very skilled, very talented, very caring individual, there is a person who can crack jokes, who can make you feel good, but you have to find out the time. He does not play. Now, that's the way I needed to do this, Jeff, so that I can still be straight-faced, and I know you know that. And since I do know what your real nickname is, and that...
Easy.
I will keep it a secret.
Thank you.
May I just say thank you so much for what you've done, and that we were saying earlier how we already miss you, because you call and check on us, and we know that you're going to do well and do greater things in the law firm, and how blessed Osley and other members of your firm are. So we thank you, Jeff.
Very nice. Thank you.
Yes.
We'll just go down the row.
Yes. Go down the row.
So when I joined the board, I was the first new board member in how many years?
A while.
12. It did not go so well. We were, it was tough times. And we can't call each other. So those of you sitting, Curtis understands this, our commissioner with us. I can't reach out to somebody and say, oh, I'm so frustrated, or I feel this, or I feel that. We are not allowed to call each other. And superintendent and I were often knocking heads, so I didn't really want to call him either. But Jeff was always there. Jeff was the only one with us that understood what was going on and the dynamics and the difficulties and the tough decisions we were having to make. And I often would call Jeff and just be completely, I would just, Jeff, blah, 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 and this is how he would respond to me, and you guys probably know this. And I would sit and wait. The sigh, I'll never forget the sigh. But you are a treasure. Jeff and I's dads worked together, and I think he called me very shortly after I got elected, and I thought, yeah, I'll get to you like I do everybody else. And he said, no, you need to get to me right now. Like, this is really important. And I just grew very fond of Jeff, and just have a very strong appreciation for what you do. And we are tough to deal with. You do not make enough money to do what you're doing, for sure. Amen. You don't. And you handle it with ease and grace. And I consider you very dear friend and adore you, and will always feel that way. And as I go across the state, I meet other people in my other life that know Jeff from one capacity or the other, and have nothing but wonderful things to say about him. So you will be missed.
Truly.
Okay.
Ms. Butler?
Yes, I'll start off with Graham Carruthers. When he retired, I was the chair, and I was amazed when he retired. But then we recruited Jeff, and he was a jewel. It was like a fresh light, and I found him Mr. Wallen to be loyal, committed, dedicated, a great listener, and give solid, sound advice. You could always ask him about anything, and he would listen, and if he didn't have the answer right then, he'd get back to you. He returned calls, he'd check on you. A dynamic person, a family man, love his sons. We followed them all the way through school. Now they are handsome sons in college. So he kept us up to date. He cared about people, and I thank you for that. I thank you for your leadership, your kindness, and your follow-through.
Well, now I'm the newbie on the block, Alva, and I didn't have to go through some of the turbulence I think that you all have had to go through, but I just want to thank you for being so welcoming and taking my calls and giving me good advice, and I know you do that for all the board members, and that's an interesting role you play because you can talk to all of us, and it's nice to have you there, with that solid legal advice. And I also want to appreciate you for mentoring Opal McKinney-Williams and bringing her to us, because she's going to be a great replacement, and I know you spent a lot of time making that happen, and so I want to thank you for that mentorship too, because that's what we do for each other. Is
Totally.
When we need to move on, we find someone who's good to replace us, and so I know we're going to be in good hands, and you wouldn't have left us otherwise. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Well, he's turning pink like his tie. What most of you may not even know, because I was sworn to secrecy till tonight, is that Jeff and I went to college together, and Jeff's wife was my dear friend and sorority sister, so I know a lot about Jeff that I'm not allowed to tell. But, so I'll refrain, except for the fact that he is a beautiful voice in a barbershop quartet.
Oh, you didn't tell me.
And I don't know if he has sung recently, but
I have many secrets.
So that's just one hidden talent that you may not be aware of. Just to ditto everyone else. And I remember the best advice when I first started. I was a new board member, but I came on with Mr. Van Camp, who had already been a part of the system for a really long time. So I really was like the first new board member in a really long line. And so the best advice I got after, I don't know, a couple board meetings was Jeff said, you know, if you're going to try to change everything, you're not going to change anything. And so it was a good advice about picking your priorities and trying to focus on that which mattered the most and what kind of legacy I wanted to have. And so I took that to heart. And then, of course, I had the opportunity to chair the board during one of our most tumultuous times and spent countless hours on the phone with you, Jeff, and I know you know that, but very, very grateful for your wisdom and your counsel and for the role that you played in trying to sort of manage things during a difficult season. So it was a pleasure to be your partner in that, and I'll just always think very fondly of you, but this is not goodbye. I reserve the right to call on you even after tonight. But thank you for all that you've done for us.
Thank you.
Could you put your hands up if we're going to just call Jeff whenever we feel like we want to? You got it. You're in
Don't
charge.
change your cell phone number.
Thank you, Jeff. Oh, and so on behalf of the board, Jeff, we want to give you.
Oh, nice.
Is that not you? Ooh, thank you. We would like to present you with this plaque, and we'd like you down front for a picture. Jeff never gets in pictures with us. If you never, ever. I think tonight is the first time ever.
You've never been right up here.
It's the first one? Picture ever. Yes, it is. The first one. Yep, come on. Okay. Everybody. We're going to scooch in. Come on.
No, I'm going to let him. No, those are his ladies.
Wait a minute.
1, 2, 3, cheese. Rocky, you want there?
Yeah, I'll get one. He'll have one with his ladies, and I'll photo bomb it the second. How about that?
1, 2, 3, cheese. Good. Got it.
Speech by Mr. Wallet.
That's all right. It's okay. Bad. Time to go through it.
Okay, so this was kind of a surprise. Maybe an ambush is better.
Opal may have been in on it.
I guess it's kind of funny how fast 15 years goes.
Wow.
Especially since a couple of those years were kind of like dog years. 1 year feels like 7. So, you know, I did show up here after Graham, and Graham knew everything.
He did.
And I didn't know much, and so I had to have a lot of help, and I got a lot of help. I got a lot of help from people in the district who were patient with me and helped me figure things out. And I got a lot of help from people at the law firm, Kevin Carroll and Deborah Menace and Opal. And Opal is probably the one I want to talk about. And see, you're going to make me cry, aren't you?
She is Miss Carol.
No, every once in a while you find somebody who is your partner and your helper, and that was Opal. She's bright, she's hardworking, she is talented, and she cares so much. And a couple of years ago, when things started to settle down a little bit, it became clear to me that if I stayed in this place, she would not progress. And she needs to. You can be the best pilot in the world, but if you are in the co-pilot seat, everybody wants to know what the pilot thinks. And she did not need to come ask the pilot. And so I'm so very, very happy that Opal is going to be the school board attorney. I think she is outstanding, and she's going to serve you well, and I will be around when she can't be here to come back, as long as you promise I don't get a plaque next time. But I want to tell you I love all of you. I love the school district. It is a group of very caring people who care about the students. That became clear from the minute I showed up, and it's clear today. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Whew. Okay, where am I? Continuing concerns from board members?
Me.
That would be you, Ms. Roseanne Wood.
Okay. Well, that's hard to follow, but this board has been spent probably the last 5 months talking a lot about concurrency, about school capacity, and about school choice. And you know, school choice is not a new issue. We've, as you know, I've been in the school system a long time, and we've developed over the years lots of good choices for our students. We have some really excellent magnet programs. We have magnet schools. We have the Rickards IB program. We have SAIL. We have the Appalachia Tapestry. We have a lot of programs. But we also have a situation right now where, you know, Americans do love choice. Go to the cereal aisle and you'll see, you know, that everybody wants to have something that's special. And we prove that by the fact that 3,700 students, parents this year, asked for a choice, a different school than what they were zoned for. And I think our district was able to approve 2,800 of those, so that's a lot. We also have another 1,000 students who are choosing homeschool. Good night. And we have 5,000 students in private school. We have 41 private schools. I looked that up today. I was kind of surprised. You know, yeah, 41. Small. Some are small, some are large, but we have 41 private schools in Tallahassee. Anyway, as I said, there's many good reasons people choose to go to different schools. Sometimes it's because it's close to them. Sometimes it's a special program. Sometimes it's the reputation. There are a lot of reasons. There's also a lot of reasons that aren't good reasons that people don't choose a school. And I think a lot of it is from misconception, misperceptions. School grades can be very misleading, and that's sort of a shorthand for, is this a good school or a bad school? And I know you've all had this experience of people saying, oh, well, that's not a good school. And I want to say, yes, it is. Don't believe everything you read about a school grade, because it's not really a true measure of how good a school is. So I think we have some work to do as a school district overall to really try to let our citizens know how many good choices they have already, and then also create some new ones and find out why is it that some schools have a lot of students who aren't choosing them, and why some schools have a lot. Now, we know some of the reasons, but I think that we as a district can really think of a plan to try to, at least at a minimum, have something attractive and appealing at every school in every neighborhood, so that people feel like they have a good choice. Yesterday I was on jury duty, and I sat next to a young woman, and she was trying to get out of jury duty, and her reason was she had to go pick up her 9-year-old daughter at a bus stop that wasn't near her home. And I said, well, where's your child go to school? And she said, well, I wanted to enroll my daughter in a private school, so I chose the School of Arts and Sciences up at way up north of town. And I said, well, that's a good school, but where do you live? And she lived on Paul Russell Road. I said, what's your home zone school? And she said, well, it's Conley. And I recently heard that that's a good school, but you know, now I've already got her in, and I didn't really know much about it. And I thought to myself, this is why we need the task force I'm about to propose. We need to have a really good campaign and a PR outreach to parents to say, here's what is right in your home zone. here's what's possible. And then we also need to think really hard about what we're not doing than what we need to do. So I'm proposing kind of a 3-part task force, we could call it if you want to look at choice and magnet schools and what we can do. And I've talked to the superintendent about this, and he sort of gave me the, okay, Roseanne, you keep talking about this, let's do it. So I'm really happy about that. And the way I see it is we would have district leaders, of course, the choice office, obviously, the chamber, our business partners are people who know about public relations, who know the realtors, who know what's said out there about our schools, our vocational office, our district advisory council, a parent representative, maybe the Title I office advisory council to have a member, and our city and county and our foundation, and really have a sort of a brainstorming about what we can do. And I would think 3 things we should do. And the first one is to map out a long-range vision plan to make all our schools attractive and welcoming to a broad socioeconomic mix of students. And 2, to provide district support to existing magnet schools and programs and create new and attractive dynamic ones that will meet the needs of a broad range of students. And then 3 is design a marketing campaign to better inform our parents of our new and our existing options to those who are choosing to attend private schools and charter schools and public schools outside their home zone. And I think if we could do that, we could help with a lot of the issues we've been discussing about undercapacity and overcapacity and really make a big effort on that. So, you know, with your permission, Superintendent, I hope we can start this as a task force and come back to the board and say, here are some ideas, here are some suggestions, and just work really hard on this. It's not an overnight fix. It's going to be probably, you know, a several-year plan, but I think each of our schools could develop some things that they're really good at, and we could let people know about it so that there's more knowledge. And, you know, we have to compete. This is a competitive world, and I think that we have a lot of things to offer that people don't even know about.
Madam Chair, if I may, you can tell she's spent a lot of time and energy thinking about this, and she's right. You know, we have a wonderful school system, but every day presents an opportunity for us to get a little bit better, and for us to look at what programs we have that are working and evaluate what we're doing, and then look at other options or other opportunities at other schools to develop new programs. So I met with Dr. Gale on the school choice side, and then Jillian Gregory on the academic side to work with you, since you're volunteering to kind of lead the charge in your retired life. But that means a lot. It would be easy just to sit back and do the same old, same old. But I've challenged every person in my administrative team to think outside the box. We aren't just a government bureaucracy that's going to sit back and say, well, we have 33,000 kids, just go through the motions. How can we look at every day as an opportunity for us to do better for all of our schools? Because you're right. I mean, the labeling of school grades, you know, my brother, it is what it is. I can say how unfair it is, but no one, it's like Scotty Crow said that Frank Laporta told him, you want fair, go down to South Monroe Street the end of October and get all the fare you want. But sometimes things aren't fair. But how can we get creative and think outside of the box to do some innovative things at all of our schools where people in those communities go, I want to go to school at Connolly. I want to go to school at Hartsfield. I want. But it has to be thoughtful. It can't be just some overnight fly-by-night decision. Well, this sounds good. Let's do that, and then you know we can't sustain it. You know, there has to be some long thought-out plan before we put those processes in place. But I'm all for it.
Great, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Woods. We'll
be back. We'll be reporting to the board.
Yes,
it's going to take a little while to get this together, but I'm really excited about it and think we can, you know, create some new opportunities for our students, and we want them to choose us.
Yes, we do.
Right. So this will be a choose us plan.
That's right. They may move into some of these neighborhoods that they're moving out of. Wonderful.
Exactly.
All right. That's a great idea. Thank you both. As we continue now with new issues from board members, may I say to you that in the audience tonight, we have one Mr. Robert Travis, who is the newly elected president of the NAACP, I understand.
Is he here?
And we also have Colonel Wilson Barnes, who is the educational chair of the NAACP. He is a retired colonel from U.S. Army. And 3, we have Delatri Hollinger, the first vice president of the NACP. I have a speaker card here for Mr. Wilson Barnes. Would you step up, please, to the podium? Welcome. State your name, address, and I know you have something for us in your 3-minute time, and welcome back. It's been a while.
I would just like to clarify.
Okay.
We had intended for, since we just recently had our election in NAACP, Tallahassee branch NAACP, that there would be 2 speakers.
All right.
Mr. Travers and Mr. Delatri.
Okay.
And we had requested 6 minutes. So I would hope, since they are AWOL on me.
And just
tonight,
got elected? Go
and
ahead.
they just got elected. But no, they had to go to another meeting and ask me to come here because of the importance of the issues that you all were discussing.
All right.
And let me first of all congratulate Miss Karina Richardson.
Thank you.
I want to tell you, you are a leader, and you are a future governor in this state. You are a future senator, congresswoman, or maybe the female coming of Barack Obama. I just want to tell you that. And we are proud of you in NAACP. And we will stand to make sure that you are free of any obstacles that may confront you in life, realizing your full potential. For Jeff, you know, we haven't agreed on everything, Jeff. But I think you were a godsend compared to Brother Gathers. He was a little different from another era in time. He was from that era. And I went back and looked at the history of the Tallahassee branch NAACP. When Leon County, Tallahassee branch NAACP was formed approximately 62 years ago. Leon County and Tallahassee were not the areas in these United States of America that these areas are today. And I want you to know that with the new leadership who are not here tonight, we recognize what's happening in our society, that started to happen in our society about the time that the first African-American president, Barack Obama, came to office. There are those elements in this great nation of ours who are trying to set us back. They're trying to justify the Ku Klux Klan that lynched over 4,000 black men between the end of the Reconstruction era and the 1950s. So, let me cut it short. We're here tonight to make sure that in this excellent school district, we ain't going back, folks. And there are some issues which we have not had an opportunity maybe to talk about. And one of those issues, of course, I think we just alluded to. Now, we don't feel the same way about choice as opposed to fairness and equity. We in the NAACP that I heard folks, I took it as jokingly referring to it as. Choice we believe in, but we also believe in equal opportunity and fairness. You can't consider one without the other. And we'll be talking more with you all about that. But I think it's an excellent route for you to pursue in terms of bringing all of the community in and seeing where do we go now with Leon County School District. I've heard talk about redrawing lines and the demographic shift. We want to be involved in it, folks. I hope you'll allow us to, because I believe we can. If we do this together, we will not have to be quarreling over it. So I hope we can join forces. And Bob Travers is not here, but I know, of course, that he's in that mode. Undercapacity of schools. I saw some data recently I think it was Godby and Rickards. Both are not up to capacity, and Childs. But both of them are, as I remember, Title I schools. They've got some unique issues that don't show in those numbers, that somebody, the human factor, has to get in with well-meaning people and try to make some good judgments other than what some of us sort of instinctively, well, it's not up to capacity, therefore we don't need a school. We don't think that linearly. We like to think a little bit more holistically, and we would like to join you all in kind of going at this issue and make sure that we come up with the right solution for this community. All in all, I know Mr. Travers is sorry that he couldn't get here tonight, but believe me, he'll be active just like Dr. Evans was active. You remember him, don't you? Of course. Jeff. And we hope that together, NAACP, Leon County School District, we can work together to take it to other heights. Yes. But we got to work together. And I hope that we can get an agreement where we're going to do that. You got to listen to us. You can't make dogmatic decisions and expect to run over us. Because without legal resources, we still have the legal NAACP Legal Defense Fund.
Yes, and
so
term bonds.
I thank you, Madam Chair. I know
Yes,
that
sir.
you're anxious to go home.
Well,
I'm almost as verbose as you.
Well, thank you, sir. That's a good thing. That is a good thing. And I want you to know that you did get a whole 6 minutes, your 3 and his 3. So everybody was looking at me funny, but we thank you for being here tonight. And let me just say for this board, no, it was not uncomfortable. We appreciate you. We hope that you will come back and be with us. We want to collaborate with any and all organizations in this county so that our school system can continue to be the best. We want to hear your voice. Continue to talk to us. Call this superintendent. Put it on the table. We want to be transparent. These are our children, and as a citizen, we want your help. How does that sound for you to take back to the good? Then we got it. But we
match the word.
All right, then that's where we are. Is there further business to come before this board? Hearing none, we are adjourned.